You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. Your boy Pat Lane, as always, with my guy Matt St. Jean. And Matt, for the first time in a calendar year, the Patriots have won a home game, beating the all-star team New York Jets 25-22. Just, what an incredible, absolutely incredible game that was by the Patriots.
Yeah, this is almost exactly a year after their last home win. That was October 22nd last year. They get it on the 27th this year, so a little over a calendar year between them. And their second win of the year, both of them upset victories over high-quality quarterbacks, both of them because of timely defensive stops and a good running game at points. So, I think it's nice to see them get back in the win column. And, we're going to get into the details, but nice to see the defense bounce back after a tough outing last week.
You got that right. And listen, I think, for the Patriots, you needed this win, right? And Gerard Mayo, that big meanie pants Gerard Mayo, called his team out and called them soft. And how dare he do that? And oh my God. And if I were a player, I'd be so embarrassed. And I can't Nope. The team responded just like he knew they would, just like he wanted them to. They stopped the run. Now, they didn't stop the run, but they did a pretty good job stopping the run. They didn't do a great job running the ball, right? Their longest run by a running back was 7 yards. However, they had 2 rushing touchdowns. They ran the ball when it mattered the most. Fourth and goal at the 1 yard line.
They had 3 rushing touchdowns.
They had 3. They're right. I'm sorry. Drake Maye had the rushing touchdown as well. But, you get 3 rushing touchdowns, and you protected the court. They only gave up 2 sacks. I thought they played pretty well overall, right? And, fourth and goal at the 1 yard line, game's on the line, final play of the game. Everyone in the world knows you're running the ball. And, you bring in City So, and you run it anyways, and you score and win the game. And that's, that is a mentally tough, physically tough team that can go out there and say, no, we're just going to ram it down your throat, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. That for me has to be impressive, at least for what the Patriots are looking for.
Well, if you want to talk about running the ball, you didn't get as much conventionally as you wanted. You'll see the totals on the ticker down there, but for a reminder, it was 20 carries for 48 yards. Gibson, I believe, had 5 carries for 6 yards. You're not getting a whole lot there, but Drake Maye had 3 explosive runs. Obviously, he gets the injury on one of them, which we'll have to dive into what that means for New England. But he gets a touchdown on another one, able to move the chains and punish a Jets defense that wanted to play man coverage and wasn't containing with their rushers. So just making the simple plays. When the defense gives you something, you just take it and you go on to the next play. You don't mess it up. And then Brissett, on the game-winning drive at the end, you get a 3rd and long, and he's picking it up with his legs. Matters, which we talked about the pattern for victory, the formula for victory. Week 1 against the Bengals, how many plays did we see Jacoby Brissett make with his legs?
True.
Able to do it in clutch time again here today in the win. So much needed win for morale purposes, for confidence purposes, and the guys responding to their coaching.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I just feel like for the Patriots, you had to look at this game as a game that, you had to win. And not even had to win, because I didn't look at it as a must win. You had to show up. You had to show up and play hard, right? And they did. They showed up and they played their butts off today, I thought. And like you said, Jacoby, I thought went in. And look, we all know Jacoby Brissett's not a great quarterback. We all know that, right? But he did what he had to do to win the game. He played extremely well, I thought, in the second half. Didn't really make a ton of mistakes, and led 2 scoring drives in the fourth quarter, both to take the lead. right? I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, you know? And defensively, of course, they give up that touchdown, but like, you know, it's just they stopped the 2-point conversion. And so now it's a 5-point game instead of 7-point game, and that wins you the game essentially, right? And so the Patriots, I just think, you know, they had a lot to prove. And listen, they had a million reasons to quit this week. A million reasons to quit, right? Duggar was out. Uche was out. Uquale was out. Drake May goes down, right? Like, there's a million reasons for them to say, you know what? We just don't have it this week. What are you going to do, right? You're down 13-7 at the half, and you're thinking like, no, that's it. Like, we just don't have it, you know? But it didn't stop them. They kept going and eventually pulled out the victory. And I think that, you know, it's just that's such a huge momentum swing for the Patriots, I think, and really kind of brings them to a point where, you know, you're feeling good about the season. Now you're only 2-6, right? But of course, you're tied for last place in the division. But everyone else in the division has 2 wins except for the Bills. But like, you know, I think for the Patriots, at least, you have to look at this win as saying like, hey man, like we played pretty well today, and you got to feel good about where you're sitting with this team right now.
Yeah. I think we should probably start with the defense here, given the storylines of the past week. You know, you mentioned Gerard Mayo's press conference.
Yep.
They got a lot of conversation this week about calling the team soft. You know, Richard Sherman on Thursday Night Football this week was kind of saying, you know, nobody's going to respect the coach. He's not Bill Belichick. Why are they going to respect him when he's calling them out? Which, you know, other than the fact that he was an accomplished football player who's coached these men for years before this, who they know, who they trust, other than all of those factors, I'm sure they don't have any reasons to trust him. But no, I think you saw this week why it mattered. The players after the game talking about how it fired them up, lit a fire under them. They kind of needed to hear it. And you just compare the energy that they were not able to sustain last week against Jacksonville. You know, they started out fine defensively, and then it crumbled last week. This week, you know, obviously you still allowed 22 points. The Jets had a couple of big touchdown drives, including one late. It wasn't all roses and sunshine, but the energy was there. They were able to get big plays when it mattered. And so the Jets offense that is not well coached, and they were able to force them into spots where they were uncomfortable, and that coaching became a factor. You know, we saw offensive penalties throughout. We saw miscues, guys not in the right spot, drops, all kinds of stuff like that from the Jets today. And, you know, it's because they're not a good team. And you play good defense, you put them in spots where that's going to crop up and hurt you. So, yeah, props to the defense for responding. Props to Mayo for calling them out in a way that was effective. And very happy to see the energy level this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, defensively, right? And Marcus Jones certainly got picked on a little bit by Garrett Wilson. I will say there was one looked like bad play by him. It looked like he thought he had coverage over the top because you could clearly see after the play, he was like, where's the safety help? Like, I thought I had safety over the top. That was a bad play. I mean, the 2 first catches he had, and even the pass interference catch that he made, he had great coverage on all 3 of those catches. And Garrett Wilson's just a baller, right? He's a stud, and he makes those plays. And so, you know, Marcus is there. He's just, you know, Garrett Wilson's making a great play. On the other side of the ball, on the other side of the field, I should say, Chris Gonzalez pitched a shutout today. 4 targets for Devontae Adams when he was covering him, 0 receptions. Adams finishes with, I think, 4 for 54. None of those were with Gonzalez in coverage. One of those is the last play of the game where they were clearly giving up that underneath throw in the middle of the field. And so really didn't do anything today. And Gonzalez just continues to be that guy that can take away the number 1 receiver. Got beat a few times last week, but, you know, for the most part, he just, you know, he's there and he keeps doing it and he's consistently doing it. And so, you know, you get that situation where I just think that, you know, you have him on one side, you have some guys on the other side. Now, I don't know if Marcus Jones can be that number 2 corner outside. I just don't know if he can do it. He's not big enough. But I think that, you know, he's a pretty good player. You know, you got to find another guy, I think. But The secondary, I thought, especially with Duggar being kind of a late scratch, I thought.
He got he got added to the injury list yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and tried to play, went through warmups, couldn't do it.
Yeah. So I really think that, and you can see after the game that Mayo gave three game balls to the three safeties that stepped in his absence. And so, I think you really looked at it and say, like, hey, they were shorthanded, right, last moment, and they did a pretty good job against Aaron Rodgers. And listen, Aaron Rodgers isn't that good, but like he picked the Patriots apart last time they played him. And so,
he had some moments that, I think the drives where the Jets did score, the first touchdown they scored was on a laser over the middle in a tight window with a receiver getting hit, and he still made the catch. You tip your cap, it happens. The second one was to a receiver in motion on the goal line on like a really low angle throw, and it was like a couple inches off the ground.
Unbelievable catch by Gibson.
Just scooped it up. You tip your cap. It happens sometimes. These are part of this is a talent thing, and it's like, sometimes the other quarterback's just going to get his. And in the NFL, your preventativeness for your prevention for that is to have a quarterback who can also get his and match it.
Right.
Pats just didn't have that today and still found something. And on the last drive, you got that throw to Garrett Wilson where it looked like Marcus Jones and Del Pettis may have had a miscommunication, because Marcus Jones, after the play, after he gave it up, he was playing trail technique on it.
Yeah.
And after the play, he looked at Del Pettis and kind of tapped his helmet, and it made me think there was a signal where Pettis was supposed to get over the top on that, and he didn't see it. And that got them, the big chunk play there that put them in position.
Yep.
But I really thought the issues that they had today defensively were almost exclusively talent things. You only got one sack because you couldn't generate any kind of pressure.
Right.
And you had Marcus Jones, who is a fine enough corner, going up against a guy who, can be a number one receiver in the NFL. It's a mismatch, and he got picked on, and it happens. But outside of that, and then a couple running plays where, I think the go-ahead touchdown late by the Jets was just Eric Johnson getting pushed off the ball. He's not a guy who's usually going to be in that spot. He has to play there right now because Equality's out.
Right.
It happens. Is Eric Johnson going to be a part of your future? No.
Probably not. Yeah.
So, you can fix that next year. You can fix the depth at corner next year. You can invest in the pass rush. All of those are fixable. But you saw particularly Christian Ellis and Jelani Tavai playing with high energy, high effort, high emotion, leading the team the way they needed to do. And that kept you in the game at some key points in the second half.
It's true. Definitely true. And I think that, I was really happy to see certainly Tavai and Ellis, because look, honestly, let's be honest. The Patriots linebackers are not good. They're just not that good. Right. And I do think that Tavai as a second linebacker and Christian Ellis as like a depth linebacker are pretty good. But when you ask Tavai to make that move over to linebacker 1, and then you bump Christian Ellis to linebacker 2, that's really tough. And so, that's one of those situations where you just don't feel comfortable with the way that they played. And I thought they played really well today. And so you really worry about it. And I thought they played well. And so, and to your point, they absolutely, came out and they were fired up, right? Every time they made a play, they were fired up. They got the defense fired up. I was impressed by the way that they were able to do that. And the energy that they brought, like you said. And so look, I'll take that from them. And sure, they don't have a lot of talent right now, but like you said, let's invest in that and let's see if they can, kind of figure that out. And Taki was out there on the field. Bro, he's asking about Taki. He was out there on the field. Made a few plays here and there, but I think Christian Ellis is really that guy, to be honest with you.
I completely forgot that Taki was active today until I saw that comment.
He had a big hit on there was one play where they kind of held the back up at the around the line of scrimmage, and Taki came in and laid a good stick from the side, but he didn't really do much else other than that. And so
he's not credited with anything in the box score, no tackles or anything.
Yeah. So, listen, man, and the Jets offense is just brutal. I mean, brutal. And Rodgers had some open throws and just missed it. I mean, I don't know. He's a mess.
Yeah, he was spraying at times. He's not mobile anymore. And he was, and it's, forget all that. The mental side for him. I mean, the Jets had to burn 3 timeouts in the first quarter, I believe, because they weren't organized.
It's bad. I've never seen that before.
One of the plays that we haven't talked about here at all, but I think was maybe the biggest play of the game, was that when the Jets scored the go-ahead touchdown, they went for 2 to try to push it to a full 7-point lead. And they didn't get set on time. They got a delay game penalty on a 2-point conversion.
It's crazy.
Didn't get it because they got pushed back to the 7, called a screen, where the Pats rallied to the ball and tackled. And then the Patriots go score the touchdown that puts them on top because of that. So, this game probably goes to overtime if they're actually playing that from the 2. At least there's a much better chance. We're talking about an overtime game right now. So, just complete dysfunction from the Jets, and good on the Patriots for capitalizing. They didn't, generally speaking, bail the Jets out of those spots.
Right.
With the exception of that one early drive with all the pass interference penalties. And we talked about bailing out. Christian Ellis, just coming back to him, he had the 1 sack, which was just a
delayed blitz, right?
Delayed blitz. Yeah. Jets never picked it up. Free rusher, sacks him, leads to the missed field goal. Another huge play in this game. And I thought the linebackers were better mentally. I think they physically, these players are what they are, and that's probably not going to change a whole lot at this point. I thought they were sharper mentally, quicker to react mentally, and I don't know if you get that week over week. Jets offense is simpler and not as good, so that might be why they're able to play better in a game like this. There's not as much to distract them. But I don't know, playing the Titans aren't gonna give you anything crazy next week. I don't think the Bears are going to give you anything crazy the week after that. So you've got a couple weeks as a linebacker core to build some confidence.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Tennessee, you look at that game today. I mean, the Lions had 85 yards of passing, and they scored 52 points. So, I mean, hey, what are you going to do? So we'll see what happens next week. But I just think, defensively, I was pleased with the way they played. And it's not perfect. And like you said, they don't really have the guys there. And when you run at the edge of the Patriots, it's still a little bit up in the air. But I just thought that I thought they really kind of played pretty well. And again, not perfect, but well enough to win and take advantage of the Jets being stupid. The Jets being the Jets.
And it was a lot of bend and don't break, which is fine for me with this unit. To play bend and don't break, still give up 3 touchdowns and not force a turnover and still hold them to only 22 points, I think is huge. There were a lot of plays, 3rd downs in New England territory, where the Patriots got a big stop, which was obviously pivotal in such a close game. Christian Gonzalez late. The Jets had a go-ahead field goal drive in the second half, 4th quarter, and they get close to the goal line. And it's 3rd down. They throw it a slant to Devontae Adams. Gonzalez is all over it, and that's what that's a big physical veteran receiver who's got that connection with his quarterback. To jump a slant right like that and knock it away is incredibly, incredibly impressive from a young corner. So that was awesome. Do we want to talk about the defensive pass interference penalties here?
Man, brutal. Just absolutely brutal. I just don't know. I don't know what they were looking at on really any of them. I just I mean, what the hell are we doing? What are you even calling? I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. And then, Gary Wilson's pushing off, and Marcus Jones is getting called for a pass interference.
Well, that was Marcus Jones' fault. He shouldn't have hit Garrett Wilson's hand with his helmet.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. If Marcus Jones's chest hadn't hit his hand, then we'd be fine.
Yeah. But now the first penalty was on Gonzo. And I think of the 3, I think that they called, this was probably the most correct. It was just unfortunate. Corners get away with it all the time, where they'll grab the trailing hand of a receiver, so it's harder for him to make the catch. Most famously, Stephon Gilmore got away with this in the Super Bowl. on that pass to Brandon Cooks that was broken up. And usually, if you play it right, you get the angles right, so the refs don't see it, you can get away with it.
Yep.
Gonzalez just got unlucky. They saw it. It happens. The Christian Ellis one, I read the rule. I think it's technically the correct call, but they have to have an amendment to this rule because he's covering a back, and the back runs out of bounds before he makes contact with him. So he would not be eligible. He would not be eligible to touch the ball there.
Right.
And he's also not it's not catchable if you're out of bounds. So I thought that should not have been a penalty on those grounds. He made contact, but once the guy's out of bounds, who cares? So that was really unlucky, and that's what set up that first Jets touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it just, it's not just that. It's also the fact that, okay, you do that, but then number two, then you look at it and say, well, that happened to the Patriots multiple times. The Tyquan Thornton play, right? Tyquan Thornton's got to catch that ball. He gets hit before he catches it. No penalty, right? And you can say maybe the defender's making a play on the ball. The defender can't go through the receiver to make a play on the ball. I'm sorry, he can't. And so, then there was, who was it in the end zone? Was it Bourne in the end zone? Who was in the end zone?
Yeah, Bourne.
Right? And you're just like, what are we talking about, man?
And it wasn't anything super egregious, but by the standard, they said it was contact to his hands as he was trying to make a catch on the ball. If we're calling the other stuff, we got to call
100%. If you're going to call ticky-tack stuff, call ticky-tack stuff. It's just the way it is.
And then we want to talk about the non-ticky-tack stuff to me. Mr. Heat-seeking missile, Jamie Sherwood. I don't think he's a dirty player or anything, but he clearly plays recklessly. That hit on Maye that got him concussed. It wasn't dirty. Maye slides a little bit late. He makes it a tough angle on the defender. That's fine. I get it. I don't have any issue with the defender making contact with him there because of how late the slide is. But the reason it's helmet-to-helmet contact there is because the defender is being reckless, which is one of the things that we are supposed to be punishing. He leads with his head. There's no reason for him to be leading with his head there. So what becomes essentially an unintentional contact there leads with the head to the head because of the way the defender chooses to play. And to have that happen, to concuss your quarterback, for the ref to see the hit and know it enough to go up to the player and ask if he's okay, but not enough to, throw a flag. I don't understand. And then
it's ridiculous.
The next drive, 2 drives later, when Kayshon Boutte dropped the third down pass, I did see a replay on it. He didn't get hit by Jamie Sherwood, but it wasn't for a lack of trying because Sherwood was laying a shoulder and an elbow outstretched towards Boutte's head.
Right.
And what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
And he had another tackle later, which it was completely fine. But it was notable because he was leaning forward with his head into it. And only it wasn't a penalty or anything, but it's dude, you're playing recklessly. This is a pattern. What are we doing here? There's got to be flags at some point for this.
Right. Right. And it just, at a certain point, you have to, allegedly, you're looking out for, the safety of the players. Well, what are we doing then? You're going to have a guy take multiple headshots at the other team and just do nothing about it? It made no sense to me. So, either you're going to call, either you're going to let them play, you're not going to let them play, right? But if you're going to say we're going to protect these guys, well, then protect them for God's sakes. And it's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So, but all right, we're going to do an ad break before we do.
Oh, wait, I have one more ref comment before we go.
Okay.
I'm still waiting to see the all-22 on it, but they had that big play to Hunter Henry on offense that got called back as a holding on Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. They only showed one replay on the broadcast, and it did not look like a holding on that. It looked like Michael Jordan didn't make enough contact for there to be holding. It looked like he let him go, and that's what Brissett was avoiding. If we get the all-22 with that, and it's clear it was holding, I'll retract this, but on first glance, that was incredibly ticky-tacky to take back such a huge play in that game when, you really only saw that going one way.
I saw the replay on that. At least the replay they showed on the screen. It looked like holding to me, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't egregious. And so I don't. It's not like, oh my God, what a terrible play by by Michael Jordan. Yeah, could have been, could have been. Who knows? But I just I didn't. Again, was there another holding call made all game? Did they ever call the Jets for holding? Did they call the Patriots for another holding? Like
there was one offensive holding on the Jets, but I believe it was on a punt return.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going through the list.
There was a holding on the punt return. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going through the list of the penalties here, and the Patriots had 6 of them, but like 5 of them were subjective. The illegal use of hands to the face by Marcus Jones was legit. Like
100% was a penalty. Yep.
3 DPIs, I think all of them were at least somewhat questionable. A defensive holding, which I didn't get a good look at, so I'm not going to comment on
running
that.
Play. I didn't like that. He was, I think it was Jaquan Roy that was, tied up with 2 guys. He's got his hands on both guys. Did he grab him? Did he not? I don't know, maybe, but I thought that was ticky tack as well. I mean, the guy's getting tackled as they're calling the penalty. It's just stupid.
Yeah. And then the penalties called on the Jets, I believe there were 7 of them, if I have my math right here, my quick math. 2 of them were delay of games, which are automatics.
Correct.
Then you also have an offside and a neutral zone infraction, which are also automatics. So there was 1 defensive holding. Oh, and there was an ineligible downfield, which is an automatic.
Right.
So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 8 penalties on the Jets, and I think 5 of them were automatic. It's only 3 judgment calls against them here, and one of them was a pretty obvious roughing the passer, and then the holding on the punt return and a defensive holding by Jalen Mills. So it's
Jalen Mills.
Yeah, that Jalen Mills.
He played for the Jets. Jesus.
Yeah, he was the one who may have interfered with Kendrick Bourne in the end zone too.
Look at that. Jalen Mills getting away with things.
I don't think there's any conspiracy here or anything. Refs are just very inconsistent. And in terms of judgment calls today, there was a lot of inconsistency, and it happened to go one way. And this feels like maybe the 3rd time in the last 5 weeks that's happened in New England. I think all of those games in New England too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not sure what the deal is. I know the Patriots aren't a very good team, and that a lot of times good teams get calls and bad teams don't. But I didn't love it. Again, when you got a guy headhunting, and I don't know Sherwood's a dirty player. The people in the comments are saying he is. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him, to be completely honest with you, to know if he's a dirty player or not. But he did it twice in one game. Like, that should be enough. Like, we should have seen it happen right away and said, nope, that's not okay, 15-yard penalty. Then he does it again, and you're kind of like, ugh, that looks even worse, man. So, I don't know.
I think it sounded like the Patriots after the game were upset about it.
As it
should be. I think we're probably going to see a fine on that hit. The hit on Maye, and it's not like it changes the game or anything,
right?
But, just frustrating, and there's a little bit of a pattern here of New England players getting hit in the head over the last year and a half and not having penalties out of it.
That right?
Which I don't think is what it probably is that this team stinks, and because they stink, they get lesser officiating crews, and because those crews aren't as good at their jobs, we just get more inconsistent officiating. But I'd like to see them tighten it up a little bit more or have more safeguards in place for this, because refs are human. They're going to make mistakes. Let's have some systems in place to curb some of the issues and get the obvious ones.
Yeah, I agree. 2 things that I wanted to add. Number 1, because this kind of relates to the Patriots defense, 4th and 1, Jets down by 1, and they kick the field goal. And Aaron Rodgers was livid in the third. It was in the 3rd quarter.
Well, didn't they have? Oh, this was after the incompletion. Well, didn't they get a delay of game there, and that's what pushed them back, and then they kicked the field?
No, they had 4th and 1, and I think it was definitely in the third quarter because he was coming to our end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This was right after the Christian Gonzalez pass breakup.
And I think that was it? I don't know exactly what the situation was. I do know it ended in a field goal. Hold on, I just want to pull it up just so I can see like exactly what, like I said, third quarter. That he didn't miss it. Did he miss the field goal? Maybe it was in the third quarter.
This is the field goal that put the Jets up 16-14.
Yes. Yeah. They were down by 1. Patriots just scored a touchdown. And yeah, 3rd and 1, they short incomplete. You're right. Because it was Gonzalez that knocked the pass away from Devontae Adams. They're at the 11-yard line, 4th and 1 at the 11. And he was pissed that they were going to kick the field goal. And now, if I'm the Jets, I'm going for that. I don't know why you're kicking a field goal in that situation.
Yeah.
But, I think that it's something to question about the Jets coaching staff. I just think look, we all know the Jets coaching staff stinks anyways, but like, what are we doing? Like, why are you kicking that field goal? I didn't get it. And so, and of course that ends up being, you score a touchdown there and you win the game, right? So it ends up being the deciding factor in the game. So, but what are you going to do? Additionally, one Jets insult stat for you. Just, when you say only the Jets can lose a game like that, this time it's actually true. So here we go. The Jets. I'm sure you've seen this one. The Jets scored 20 plus points, committed 0 turnovers, and held their opponent to under 250 yards of offense. From 1940 until yesterday, teams were 756-0 when they hit those 3 metrics. The Jets lost to the Patriots today. They're now 756-1. 757 times it's happened, and only the Jets have lost when those 3 metrics are all hit. That is completely insane. And so when you think about the Jets and you think about, and this is why I said it earlier in the week, I'll say it again, I'll continue to say it. At least you're not a Jets fan. Like, it's just, oh my God, so embarrassing.
Yeah, it's quite a franchise they got over there. And as I called a couple of weeks ago, I thought they were going to end up being 2-6
I
here.
did see that. Yep.
Because that road game at the Steelers, I did not like it with the way the franchise was headed. And, a game at New England here, I like New England's chances because I think while the Patriots are bad, we also know that they're going to be inconsistent and up and down. Like, bad teams beat good teams every single season. They already did it this year with the Patriots. Right. I don't know if the Eagles were a good team, but they did beat them
close enough. This year. The Jets aren't a good team either, so
Yeah, and the Patriots are able to do that and send the Jets to 2-6, and we get Devontae Adams trade rumors again, which would be so funny. We're looking at
you imagine
what year? 2010 Randy Moss type thing here. Just getting traded twice in a season, like
that'd be wild.
Yeah. So yeah, I love the Jets, man. One of the greatest entertainment acts in all of sports.
So great. So great. Oh, also, you know what? One thing, and I forgot to mention this. I don't know how I forgot to mention it when we were talking about the defense, but I thought the end of the game sequence from the Patriots. You watch. Obviously, everyone saw the end of the game sequence for the Bears and the Commanders. Commanders saw that crazy Hail Mary pass, but what if you weren't watching the game, what you didn't see is the play before that. The Commanders had the ball at the 35-yard line, and the Bears backed all their guys off and gave them an easy 13-yard completion for a first down that allowed them to throw the Hail Mary in the first place. They had no timeouts left. There was 6 seconds left to go in the game. Just play defense, right? Send 2 or 3 guys way back, bring the corners up, prevent that throw, and at the very least, make them move around a little bit. If he has to hold on to the ball at all, the game's over, right? And so, force them to, actually make a play instead of – and Romo called it on the broadcast. Credit to Romo. He called it on the broadcast. That's a free 15 yards, which allows them to throw the Hail Mary. If they don't do that, game's over, right? And so the Patriots, on the other side of the football, did the same thing. right? They were in a very similar situation. The Jets get the ball with 25 seconds left, no timeouts. They're at the 30-yard line. What do the Patriots do? They play defense. They force the Jets to throw the ball in the middle of the field, right? And so the first play, is an incomplete pass. The next play is a pass over the middle, 16-yard pass to Devontae Adams. The game's over. There's 15 seconds left. They can't get up and lined up in time, and the game ends. That's what should have happened in the Bears game too. I don't know what you're doing playing all the way off and allowing that to happen. And so that was interesting to me. I just thought it was interesting to see those two things happen because we all know what Rodgers looks like when he's throwing a Hail Mary, right? So, that could have ended up in a scary situation. And instead, that's not the case. And the Patriots played it the right way, and frankly, the Bears didn't. And so that, really, I think, in my opinion, at least, results in a Patriots win and a Bears loss.
Yeah. I'm surprised that teams don't blitz more often on Hail Marys.
Yeah.
That's something that's surprising me because you want to cut down on the amount of time the quarterback has to throw the ball.
Right.
And send to 5. You still have enough guys back to defend everything and turn it into a much, especially because they don't send the running back out. So
right.
You rush 5, almost all your guys are going to get on one-on-one, and you're still going to have a +2 advantage on that pile in the end zone at the end if the ball gets up. So rush and be aggressive after the quarterback and make it so we can't even get the ball away. So you're not dealing with a tip ball thing. I did not like anything about how the Bears handled that. And you got Tyreek Stevenson doing his thing,
idiot.
Not paying attention. So
what an idiot, dude. Just what a moron. Unbelievable. Taunting the crowd before. And then what they said is that he was the guy that was supposed to be behind the pile with Noah Brown. And
he never located Noah Brown in the entire sequence because he was too busy jawing with the fans.
Absolutely crazy.
So we will see if he is still playing for the Bears and the Patriots play there in weeks.
Man, wild. Second round cornerback, working out as well for the Bears as it does for the Patriots. So,
we want to hit our ad break here.
Yeah, let's do our ad break and then we'll get into the offense. All right, so this ad break, of course, is for PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, as it says, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Additionally, PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineup live. Guess what? That happened to me this week on my picks because I picked Drake Maye. I picked the over on Drake Maye passing yards, and I picked Saquon Barkley to have more. So I picked more than 215.5 passing yards for Drake Maye, and I picked more than 79.5 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley. The Barkley one hit. The Drake Maye one did not. However, I got my money back. Didn't win, unfortunately, because I only had one guy going in my lineup now that Maye was hurt, but I got my money back because Drake Maye didn't finish the game. And so that's the type of insurance that you get with PrizePicks. So invaluable in my opinion. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to download the app today. You can download PrizePicks today. You're going to put in the promo code CLNS, and your first $5 lineup that you play is going to get you $50 instantly. You don't even have to win on that lineup. So again, download the app today, use the promo code CLNS, and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right. Offensively, man, Drake Maye goes out. Had a really nice touchdown run, I thought.
Very nice.
Goodness, then he goes down with an injury, and you're just like, man, this is just not.
I forget
scary situation for the Patriots.
I forget which one of the writers said it, but somebody said we're hitting our pets' heads are falling off territory.
I mean, really.
That's what I felt like with the team. It's like you finally it is the first time all season long they have played the same offensive line for multiple games. Week 8, We get the same line we got week 6 because Valerian Lowe is back.
Yep.
So it's time for celebration. Obviously, still, Jalen Polk concussed last week, and he's not playing this week, so you're still banged up on offense. But all right, it's something. And then 2-3 possessions in, whatever it was, Maye gets concussed, and man, like that was deflating. A game like that because the Jets went down and scored right away. It was like, all right, well, there's your game.
Oh yeah, I can tell you from the fact that when it happened, all the air just went out of the stadium, and you're just like, oh God, like you just can't, like, how did that even happen? And so it was just, that was really tough. And of course, half the stadium didn't even know. They didn't make any announcement. There was no injury thing came up or whatever. I turned to my dad and I go, Drake Maye's in the locker room getting evaluated for concussion. He's like, what? I was like, yeah. And so no one knew. So I'm telling all the people around me, all of a sudden Jacoby comes out and people are like, what the hell's going on? And so, that's not an ideal situation for the Patriots. And then you're looking at it saying, well, what the hell are we even doing here? Why are we even here? And of course they end up, holding the Jets, not allowing them to score at the end of the first half.
I think that more importantly, going into the half by not giving the Jets an extra possession there.
Yes.
I think I was frustrated at the end of the half because we spent the last however many weeks now complaining about the fact that they are too aggressive at the end of half, and it's been giving opponents other chances. They finally decided to play conservative for once. Now everybody's losing their mind about this. I think that was I think it was appropriate regardless, but especially given the circumstances, to just run down the clock when the Jets have no timeouts, take it into the locker room and reset. Your quarterback got hurt. You've managed to stay in the game. Don't make a mistake. Come up with a plan for the second half and what you're going to do. Reset mentally, and then come back out and execute. Which, to their credit, they did. I think they forced a 3-and-out to open the second half. Got the ball back right away.
And then that's where the Marcus Jones of the 62-yard punt return, right after the 3-and-out. But I think people were upset, and I'm sitting there like I was arguing with the guy behind me. Good kid. Yeah, he's been there forever. He's been there. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how long he's been behind us, but. He was saying, he's like, I just want them to be aggressive. Like, I want them to, like, be a real offense. And I'm like, no, I get that. I do too. But, like, we killed them for the fact that twice at the end of the first half, they went aggressive, tried to pass the ball, and didn't get it. And it cost them. And it almost cost them points. Of course, it didn't cost them points. In what the heck game was it where they dropped the snap? Was it the last home game? Was it the Texans game where they dropped the snap on the kickoff on the field goal attempt? I forget. Doesn't matter. Either way, it was the botched snap. I think it was the Texans game, but either way, it doesn't matter. We sat there and complained about it, and now they run it 3 times, and people are pissed, and it's like, well, what? No, that was the right call.
You got to pick. You either want them to be aggressive or you don't. But
right,
pick a lane. If you complain today and you weren't before, that's fine. You can't be complaining about both.
Correct.
And then I like the way they come out in the second half. You start with the complimentary football. So you this is classic Bill Belichick football. You come out of the half, you force a 3-and-out, you get a huge punt return, and then you cash it in for the score. And the way they cash it in, you got Kayshon Boutte making a nice in-cut with a catch.
Yep.
And then a dump off to Ramondre Stevenson. Showed off some real nifty feet there to pick up a first to get down. And then he finishes it off for the touchdown run. Nice play calling there by Alex Van Pelt. Nice execution by the players, by Brissett. So a couple good throws there. And just executing when it mattered. And thanks to the missed extra point earlier, that gives you the lead back. First possession out of the half. So I was pretty pleased with that. And obviously, the offense stalled for a little bit there. You're playing in elite high-level defense with Brissett starting. I didn't expect them to move the ball a whole lot. Then you get into the fourth quarter and you get the field goal drive and the touchdown drive, and I thought both of those were incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about 14 plays 61 yards, and then 12 plays 70 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that's as much as you could possibly hope for with a Jacoby Brissett team. I just think that it's one of those things where you look at it and just say, like, man, they really did what they had to do in those situations. And you look at the 14 play field goal drive, right? They picked up a 3rd and 11 with the Jacoby Brissett pass to Hunter Henry. They picked up a 3rd and 9 with you know what? Yeah, they picked up a 3rd and 9 with a pass across the middle to Tyquan Thornton of all people.
Mm-hmm.
Made a really nice play there, and then of course they couldn't punch it in at the goal line because Brissett ran that read option, and Brissett just fumbled the ball. A few 3rd down pickups, and then on that 12 play drive, right? You had the 3rd and 9 scramble by Brissett,
Mm-hmm.
right? You had the 3rd and 10
Before that, it was 2nd down, but they had the big completion to Henry to start off that drive.
Yes, yes, they did. After he couldn't get the ball to Henry on the first play, missed him.
Yeah.
Got Henry, real nice play. 3rd and 9 scramble by Brissett. 3rd and 10 pass to Booty, which to me is the play of the game, right?
Oh,
Booty runs a nice
100%.
route, beats Sauce Gardner, right? And I mean, it was a zone, but still Gardner was there. And not just that, but he's got a guy at his legs, and he makes a really nice throw. And so, and then they punch it in. Of course, 3rd and goal, he hits Booty, which I thought he was in. I guess he was a millimeter short or something like that.
Yeah, that I thought he was in, and they showed the replay. I was like, yeah, I can't argue with that. He was.
So, but then Ramondre scores, and it's one of those funny things where this is why you always want them to call a touchdown, because like Ramondre scored, and I couldn't tell if Ramondre really scored or not. I have no idea. What I can tell you is that you can't see it. So if you call it no touchdown on the field, how could you possibly reverse it? You call it a touchdown on the field, I don't know how you could reverse it either. I mean, unless there's easy evidence to see it, I just don't think they could see it at all. And so, but either way, a bunch of 3rd down conversions in the 4th quarter with an offense that really isn't that good. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive.
Well, and I think a key part of this, one of the themes on the 3rd downs, was that the pass blocking was much better this afternoon.
Yes, absolutely.
And that it gave them more opportunities.
Yeah.
There were a lot of these plays. It was 3 straight dropbacks. You might not be successful in the first one or the second one, but you're still able to pass block on all 3. Which means you have 3 quality chances to pick up the 10 yards, and you give Brissett 3 quality chances. They were able to find something, which that was good. That play. First of all, the play to Hunter Henry on the drive before the field goal drive was just quick decision. Jets were playing way off coverage.
Yeah.
And got to Henry, lowers a shoulder into a dude, falls forward, and that's your first. 3rd and 9 to Tyquan was a really nice play by Tyquan. It wasn't anything crazy about him getting open. Being able to make a defender miss in the open field. Showed some real nimble feet there to get down near the goal line. And then the game-winning drive, I agreed with you about that pass to Booty being the play of the game. The Jets call the corner blitz, so the defender the guy's rushing is coming late, and he gets free because there's just only so many blockers. I don't think there was a mistake. I think it was just one extra guy, and you were kind of had a countdown on it until eventually he was going to find his mark. Brissett hangs tough, sees him coming, makes just a real subtle, nimble move with his eyes down the field to shake him and get space so that he's getting hit, but it's not enough contact to bring him down. And then once that happens, the Jets are outmanned. The Patriots have received more receivers down the field, and Brissett able to layer that throw in perfectly to Booty, who wins and gets inside leverage there. Fantastic all around, and I think a big point of credit in this game the receivers they struggled. Tyquan Thornton had a big drop. Kayshon Boutte had 1 or 2 drops.
2.
Kendrick Bourne had a drop.
2 drops.
These receivers left maybe 60, 70 yards out on the field.
Yeah.
And when the game matters most, they battle back. They show that resilience. They continue to make plays. And I think that is, to a degree, a sign of good coaching right there. These guys aren't getting so down on themselves after mistakes that they are unable to contribute. They are able to bounce back from making their own mistakes and make good plays. Like, obviously, these mistakes aren't good, and for guys like Kayshon Boutte and Taekwon Thornton, Boutte less so. Boutte has been very productive for them. But
Yeah.
Taekwon, who's scratch for them, that mistake is probably enough to send him back to the inactives list next week, especially once guys get healthy. But Boutte, who had some real negative plays in there, also had 2 huge catches on the final drive. He's a
Yep.
second-year player who you think is growing into a role, and um, that is what you wanna see out of a guy who you think can claim, if not a starting role on your roster going forward, a wide receiver 4 slot where he's gonna be your
Yeah.
first in off the bench. So, that's what you wanna see at this point with these guys.
100%. And I just think, I think the mental toughness really is where I was most impressed. I just thought that the Patriots really the receiving core is awful. It's just awful. Kendrick Bourne is not back where he's supposed to be. I don't know if he's thinking out there. I don't know what's going on. He had 2 drops. Kayshon Boutte had 2 drops. Taekwon Thornton had that bad drop on the long pass. The hard thing about that drop, the Taekwon drop, is he's getting hit as he's doing it. Doesn't matter. You still got to make the catch. I mean, it's just
He tried to body catch it while he was getting hit. That's when you try
contact
to
out
body
there
catch
early.
it. When you leave yourself open to that becoming an issue when you try to body catch it, because if you get hit at all and you move, the body's in a different spot than where you judged you were going to make
100%. Yeah. So, anyways, it's just that was frustrating to see. But again, Taekwon later on makes that nice play, as you said, and then Boutte obviously makes those 2 big plays at the end of the game, and he made the play before that as well on the drive before that on 3rd down. So, I thought that I was really impressed with the way he bounced back. The receiving core still wasn't very good, but at least they're still fighting. At least they're still battling. I think Jalen Polk. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if Jalen Polk should be on. Not that should be on this team, but I don't know if he should be back out there next week. I almost feel like give him another week and just be like, dude. I don't know.
With what we saw from the receivers today, I think they need him because he's
But he hasn't got the ball either.
Sure, but he's I think he's better than some of the guys who also weren't catching the ball today. So
potentially, yeah, potentially.
Taekwon Thornton has never been a great contested catch guy. Him dropping that ball shouldn't be super surprising. Jalen Polk should make that catch. If he doesn't, I don't know, at some point, I think you just give him the confidence and say, hey, we think this is we still have faith that you're going to make these plays. We get things have been rough. We get you've been making mistakes.
Right.
We're going to keep in positions because we know you can do it. And
That's
it's
fair.
the team stinks right now. Not high expectations. So you can put players in that position to say, hey, we believe in you and we want you to keep going out there and learning from it and growing and give you these opportunities. Now, if he goes out there and has another multi-drop performance, then maybe we're reevaluating the
right.
But he was and when he had his drops in college, they did come in streaks. So it could just be that he got his bad streak out of the way and now he'll go play better.
Yeah, you might be right. And listen, the thing about Polk is that he was the best receiver on the field in training camp. I mean, he was the best receiver on the field in training camp. And so, from that perspective, you look at it and say, like, hey, that's, I don't know. Maybe he can still give you something.
In theory, too, that Polk, Bolgren, Douglas, Boutte quartet of receivers gives you a bunch of different things you can do and a couple different body types and levels of experience and all that, which I like. And it's like you got your veteran in Bourne who should set the tone, which I loved him, taking accountability for his drops and taking some leadership with the guys this week. I think that's there have been trade talks about Bourne. I'm not trading Bourne. Signed to be here for a couple years.
No.
He's an inconsistent player. I think on a championship level team, he's no more than your wide receiver 3 and probably your wide receiver 4. But you are also bringing him in because he's a high morale guy and because he can keep everybody else up where they need to be. And he's played in a Super Bowl before. He's a veteran with experience who can teach the young guys. I want him out there. I want him on this team.
Yeah.
And then Pop's your slot guy. And then Booty and Polk kind of play similar roles, both young receivers. They can split time to a degree and, grow together. And then Javon Baker, whenever he comes along from his issues, can join that as the wide receiver 5 who can take your deep shot role. And then depending on how these guys play the last back half of the season here, you know exactly what you're looking for in free agency, trade market, draft when you come around next year. Like I'm not worried about a receiver struggling in the first half of his rookie year at this point with Polk. His struggles are so different from N'Keal Harry's, who I still had gotten on the field at this point in his rookie year because he was hurt and then couldn't run the right routes and he couldn't get open. Those were his issues. Tyquan Thornton couldn't get on the field because he was hurt and then couldn't catch the ball because he was thin, couldn't get open.
Right.
Folks been getting open, he's just not catching the ball. So this is, if we're going to compare him to any Pats receiver, this is going to be more like, an Aaron Dobson or whatever.
Yeah.
Going back to 2013, and he was still productive when they put him out there. You play him and see if he grows through it. And if he doesn't, maybe you reevaluate after the year. But this team's not so good that you're going to just give up on a guy after this point.
Yeah. I agree. So we'll see.
TD asking question, what happened to Pops? He has disappeared. He disappeared because he was sick last week. And then this week, Jacoby Brissett does not like throwing him the football. Once again, it's Austin Hooper, 3 catches. Pop Douglas 2. That's how you know that it was a
Jacoby Brissett day. Yep. Man,
he doesn't like throwing to small receivers. So
yeah,
probably be back once Maye is back.
I agree. Also, TD asked another question, and I'll pose this question to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hate the Jets more or the Yankees more? Yankees, of course, in the World Series against the Dodgers.
Yankees are. I hate the Yankees more because they generally put together good teams, so it's competitive. The Jets are a laughingstock. Right. And I hate them, but I show that I hate them by continually laughing at the funny things that happen to the franchise. Again, I want it to keep going because it's a really funny bit, is basically what the Jets are. Yeah, the Yankees, I hate. Yeah, the Yankees answer is partially based off of the fact that they're in the World Series now, and we just watched the 2004 documentary. But
yeah.
Did you watch that yet, Pat?
Oh, it's incredible. Oh, it's just incredible. If you live through it, if you live through it, you have to watch it. It was incredible. But yes, I feel the same way. Like, I hate the Jets. I mean, I absolutely hate the Jets. But it's the Jets. They just suck. They're a joke. Right? Now, they beat the Patriots once in the playoffs, right? Which, of course, really hurt. Right? But at the end of the day, like, they're not a serious football team. Nobody takes them seriously. Right? And so I hate the Jets, and I want to beat the Jets by 1 billion every time you play them. And they're my most hated rival as a Patriots fan. And I'm a much bigger Patriots fan than I am a Red Sox fan. But at the end of the day, the Jets are a joke. They're a joke. And so it has to be the Yankees that are hated more because they're good, and if the Jets were ever actually talented or actually good or actually competitive, then yeah, it might be them, but it's not because they're not.
Yeah. And if it's, if this turned into a rivalry where these teams are playing in the playoffs or whatever, yeah, that's gonna raise the level. But this has been, they've been a doormat for the Patriots.
Yeah, years. Also, old man mom's right. It'll always be after Bills. That I agree with. That's true. That's true too.
I hate the Dolphins more than I hate the Bills. For trying to poach Tom Brady is a big thing. We always lost to them. Like, the Bills for me are like, they were also such a doormat for so long to Tom Brady. Like, they just never beat him. And it was like, all right, well, we can play the Bills this week. We get to beat them.
But the Dolphins are just frauds. Like, the Dolphins, they're not a real team either. They're frauds. Every year they say the Dolphins are going to be great, and every year they suck. Like, it's just like, it's like clockwork, So, So, anyways, you want to do your ad read, and then we'll finish off with some a few of our prize pick stuff, and then we'll get the heck out of here.
Yeah, let me load up my ad read here. How's it going, everybody? I'm here to talk about Game Time. And, we all love going to football games. We all love going to see live basketball games. That's right. Basketball season is back. If you've been watching the Celtics all this week, they are off to a red hot start. We're not going to talk about some sections of that Pistons game. But, yeah, they've been on fire to start this season. And they are at home tomorrow against the Bucks on Monday night. That's a big game that you can go to with Game Time. Game Time Picks makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I'm looking at this game tomorrow night right now. First of all, you can click all-in pricing, and it's going to show you just the price you're going to pay for any ticket in the arena. You don't have to worry about fees or anything. That's just the price. And it'll highlight the cheapest tickets for you right on the map and the best value seats. So you can get in the building. Cheapest ticket right now is $108 for Celtics Bucks, a rematch of the recent Eastern Conference Finals right there. You can also sit down, closer to the court. They got seats closer to the court in the 200s for you, if that is in your budget. Yeah, they got one down in the section 9 here for under $200. So they got some great deals here. The price you see is the price that you're going to pay. You can see the view you're going to have from your seat right in the app. It's super simple, and there's a lowest price guarantee, or they're going to credit you with 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Love it. Yep. No, I mentioned my prize picks pick got refunded because I only had 2 guys in there. If I had more than 2 guys, it would have stayed alive. It stayed alive, but I only had 1 guy. So that didn't help me. And you hit on the Justin Jefferson, but Kenneth Walker, the Bills they crushed that team today.
That game was not close.
No. And Kenneth Walker had 12 rushing yards. So,
oh my goodness,
not ideal.
I thought that one was for sure.
Yeah. At Saquon one, I was pretty sure about. That one hit again, like I said, but the Drake Maye one, unfortunately, did not happen. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So,
if we want to do some final notes here, I just saw it go by in the ticker, and I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
Third downs today. Pats 7 of 15, plus I think 1 of 1 on 4th down, which was the game-winning touchdown. So you combine those, and they're 50% on those. Jets were 4 of 10. Patriots did a pretty good job with their third down defense today.
Yeah,
I thought was a big theme. That if you look at a lot of the stats, the Jets were able to move the ball pretty well. They just struggled to convert it into points. Part of that was their kicking. Part of that was their offensive penalties and lack of coordination. But
yeah,
the defense did a good job on third down.
Yep. Yeah. And that's when you have to do it, right? That's when you have to be there. That's when you have to make the plays. And again, they weren't super successful running the ball, but when they needed to make a play, they made it. And they weren't super successful at, defending them either, right? But when they needed to make plays, they did it. And so that's a sign of a good team and a well-coached team, honestly, as a team that can do those things. And so for the Patriots, I was pleased with what I saw. Again, was it a perfect performance? No. But it was enough to get the win, and they did a nice job with it. And again, you talk about 2 long drives in the fourth quarter, a 14-play and a 12-play drive in the fourth quarter. That's impressive to win the game. And, again, the Jets missed the field goal, so you drive 61 yards and kick a field goal. And then the Jets score a touchdown to go back up. You stop the 2-point conversion, and then you go down and score a touchdown and leave 22 seconds left on the clock. You really can't. You can't really expect anything better than that. So I was really happy with the way that things ended up. So TV's asking about next week for Drake Maye. Obviously nothing about Drake Maye yet. And so, we don't know what's going to happen there. I think Austin Hooper, I think it was Hooper that said it. It was either him or Hunter Henry was saying that Drake Maye was still being his same kind of goofy self in the locker room afterwards. Of course, the medical thing.
Mayo said he tried to come back at halftime.
Yeah.
I looked this up earlier. I think I saw from Adam Schefter that something like, I think 25% of players who have a concussion play the next week, so 75% don't. Like the median number of days for recovery is like 9 days. So that probably puts it, not great odds that he plays next week, but we're not ruling it out.
Not ruling it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you play a Titans team that looked horrendous today, shoots themselves in the foot, gets really poor quarterback play, you can win that game with Jacoby Brissett.
The Lions had 94 passing yards and scored 52 points. 94 passing yards and scored 52 points. Jared Goff finished with 85 passing yards. I mean, he was 12-15 to 3 touchdowns, but 85 passing yards. The Titans are that bad. Mason bleeping Rudolph is their starting quarterback. Mason Rudolph. That's a bad football team. Football team.
The Titans outgained the Lions 416 to 225 and lost 52-14. I got to go watch that. I didn't watch that. Okay, so the Lions had, I believe, a punt return touchdown in there I saw from Twitter, and the Titans had 4 turnovers. I don't know if there was a defensive touchdown in there, but
there was a punt return touchdown. There was not a defensive touchdown, if you can believe that.
Okay.
No defense touchdowns, but I think that there was an interception that one
interception on their first possession, the Lions turned it into a touchdown.
And the Lions started at the 23-yard line on that interception. So they threw an interception on the first play of the second quarter. So Tennessee, they were at the Tennessee 33-yard line, touchdown, right? Turnover, and that was the end of the half. But they had a fumble on the first play of the possession, which they started at the Tennessee 26-yard line, touchdown. And then they had a fumble. It's unbelievable. They had a fumble they ended up at the Detroit 22-yard line. So they didn't score in that drive. But, it's just you give them 3 possessions inside the 30-yard line. Right. I mean, so you don't need a lot of yards if you're starting 3 possessions inside the 30-yard line. So
no, and then they also looks like the Lions did a 1-play 70-yard scoring drive. This game was 14-14, and then the Lions scored, however many, 38 unanswered points there.
Wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch the highlights after this, but I'm sure I'll watch some Titans games as we prep for next week.
The highlights of this: Jahmyr Gibbs is really, really good.
Yes,
that's the highlights. I can save you some time if you want.
Well, and if the Titans are struggling on special teams, Marcus Jones as a punt returner could be a big factor this week. If it's we'll probably see Jalen Polk healthy. We'll see if they decide to play him, how they decide to handle that. Maybe they have him be the 4th wide receiver and rotate in. But even if it's Brissett, if you force some turnovers, which the Titans have been very turnover prone, and you make some plays on special teams, you can go down there and not just win, but blow them out.
Right. And as old man mom says, right, the only guy you really have to worry about is Calvin Ridley, right? Guess what?
And
guess who's going to be on Calvin Ridley?
Gonzo can handle that. I'm not super worried about that.
Right.
And then, if we want to look ahead real quick, this Patriots schedule, we'll see how guys get healthy, if they're able to repeat this performance at all. But it's pretty favorable looking forward. You play the Titans this week, which is winnable even if Maye doesn't play.
Yep.
You play the Bears. They opened as 3-point underdogs. They play the Bears the week after that, which the Bears are fine, but they're not
okay.
They're not a juggernaut. You get the Rams at home the week after that. I think the Rams look really good this week. We will see what Rams team comes in that week because they've dealt with injuries. And then a game at Miami, we'll see what Miami team. The Rams and Miami are two games where injuries are going to be huge. But after that, the Colts, they do not look intimidating right now. The Cardinals, I don't think they look intimidating right now. You get the Bills twice, but you also get the Chargers in there. They don't look intimidating right now. If Drake May plays, continues to improve, and some of these younger receivers start to get some confidence and grow into themselves, and the offensive line continues to protect the way it did today and is able to get some chemistry going as they do this team could finish with 6 wins this year, 7 wins this year. That's possible. And that'd be a nice improvement.
I almost hope it doesn't happen. I know you want to win. People want to win. I want to win too. Right. But I also it'd be nice to have the number 1 pick and be able to sell it for a king's ransom.
Well, the other thing here is this, if you win because Drake May plays well and because Vidarian Lowe starts to look good as your left tackle, because your young receivers start to become higher quality players, that is a good problem to have. Because if you come into next season and suddenly starting left tackle wasn't nearly as pressing of a need because you think Vidarian Lowe can do it if you need him to, all right, well, we talked about how this draft has right tackles. You can draft a right tackle instead with that first pick, plug him in, and maybe that now you have a starting tackle duo that you're playing for next year. Or when he's guard full time, you're at a good spot there. You can go address receiver still if you want to. One of the issues they had today was the pass rush. You can go get a pass rusher early. And it also means that you were closer to being good than you thought you were before. If you're playing well because the quarterback's playing well, that's a big part of this whole thing. That's a big part of winning football games. Rather have the quarterback and win because he plays well than have a high pick, but it's because the quarterback stinks. So
yeah. By the way, there's a discussion going on about Anthony Richardson.
He is rough right now.
Anthony Richardson. Let me just tell you. Okay, it's from Austin Gill. Anthony Richardson ranks 222nd in completion rate among the 225 quarterbacks with 250 plus dropbacks since the year 2000. So 225 quarterbacks have had more than 250 dropbacks. 3 of them have had worse numbers than Anthony Richardson. Those 3 are Tim Tebow, Mike McMahon, whoever that is, and in my opinion, the single worst quarterback to ever play football in the NFL, one Achilles Smith. And so that gives you an idea of how bad Anthony Richardson has been. So, but anyways,
it's not great, and it's when you combine his lack of performance with also his lack of ability to stay on the field right now and be healthy. That's tough. It doesn't mean he can't turn into something, but man, Colts are in a rough spot right now because I don't think they have the quarterback, and their roster feels like a whole lot of B-level guys.
Right.
That receiving core is not awful. Pittman's a good player. Josh Downs is a good player. It's not special. That offensive line is fine. Jonathan Taylor's a good player, so I'll give him that. But the defense is fine. If Drake May can let me pull it back up. If Drake May plays like he has and improves a little bit, he'll be better than whoever the quarterback is for Tennessee if he plays this week. He may or may not be better than Caleb Williams. I think that is to be determined. Probably he's not going to be better than who the Rams play.
Right.
We don't know what we're going to get at quarterback for Miami, so I'm going to stay away from that. He should be better than what you're getting from the Colts. He might be better than what you're getting from the Cardinals. And I don't know if he's better than Justin Herbert, but in an individual game with the defenses involved, I think he can outplay Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
There's a real chance that by the end of this year, if May stays healthy and is able to grow, we go into next year, and Drake May is consensus the second best quarterback in this division.
Yeah.
Or at least second most valuable when you consider the contract compared to what Tua's got going on.
Right. Totally true. So we'll see. All right. Anything else? Anything else you got?
Nothing football related. Went to a concert yesterday. Wear my coin hat. I feel like indie rock. Listen to them.
Love it. There you go. Big fan. Yeah. I like it. I like it. It's always good to go to an indie show. You know what I mean?
It's always just good vibes.
Yeah. Looks like you had some fun out there, which is good. So.
That's a nice little concert. That's about all I got.
All right. That sounds good. That's all I got too. So we'll be back Wednesday night chatting about the upcoming game in Nashville. I'm sure there'll be a ton of Patriots fans going down to Nashville for that game.
We'll be on concussion watch this week. I'm sure.
We sure will be
waiting for that Wednesday injury report.
We sure will be. And
TD asking about trades.
The trade deadline is election day, actually. November 5th is the trade deadline. So November 5th at 4 o'clock. So while everyone else cares about what's happening in the election, not that we don't as well, but we'll be paying attention to what's going on in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they should trade Godshaw. I don't think they should trade Kendrick Bourne. No. I'm ambivalent on Jonathan Jones. I like him. I think he's a good emotional leader for this team. If somebody gives you something good for him, I wouldn't be, off. I wouldn't be upset letting him go. Uche, I think you trade because I don't think he's a fit on this team right now. If somebody will give you anything for Taquan Thornton or KJ Osborne, I think you just take it, even if it's a pick swap. Like
I would agree.
You take it and you just move on and try to find something else.
I would agree. TD, I can't imagine them trading Marcus Jones. I don't understand why they would ever do that.
No, because Marcus Jones is struggled at points this season. He's been a little bit up and down, but he knows the defense really well. He's versatile and he plays special teams. So, like, if all you're getting out of Marcus Jones is a high-level punt returner and a versatile fifth defensive back, that's fine. Like, he's good enough for that role. Do you extend him on a decent contract in that role? Probably not. Right. But at least on the contract he's on right now for this season and next season, you keep him around. I think he's more valuable to you than he's going to be to another team.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, anyways, all right. Well, that's what we got. So we will we'll talk to you on Wednesday, and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. And 2-6, tied with the Jets for last place in the division.
No.
What?
I just lost my fantasy game because CeeDee Lamb scored a garbage time touchdown.
No, that's terrible.
I was up by 27 points going into tonight.
Oh, and CeeDee with 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
In our league, he has 30.6 points.
Woo! It's tough for wide receivers to score touchdowns, too.
Did you see the trade I pulled off in our league this week, Pat?
I did not.
I traded for Derrick Henry.
You did?
Yeah.
You sly dog. Who did you trade for?
I have first and a third next year. So
okay.
I've got Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill. I got Tony Pollard. I've got DeAndre Swift, and I'm about to be 4-4.
Jeez, it's rough, dude. Well, this guy right here is going to be 7-1. With my roster, Jonathan Taylor's been hurt for weeks, and I'm still going to be 7-1. Although now Stephon Diggs looks like a non-contact injury. That's not ideal.
No.
And I have no bench, so I might have to make a trade. Of course, I don't have a first-round pick next year. Although, do I have a first-round pick next year? I think I do because I do.
Yeah, Pat and I are in a dynasty league here. So.
Yeah. Yep. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah. So, the ETN injury didn't help this week. Diggs getting hurt now. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. I called my shot with the Patriots. I picked up the Patriots defense because I was like, I'm doing it. So I did. So, but anyways, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys on Wednesday night. See you then.